They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, but for Tina Campbell, every photo from the last 25 years now feels like 1,000 lies. For over 2 decades, we watched them. We prayed with them. We believed in a love that was supposed to be forever. But today, that dream hasn't just ended. It has been utterly destroyed. Imagine giving your youth, your tears, and every ounce of your soul to build a man's empire, only to find out you were building it on a foundation of betrayal. The world is shocked, but Tina is shattered. As the news of this $30 million divorce settlement hits the headlines, this isn't just about money, it's about the price of a broken heart. How do you put a dollar sign on 2 decades of sacrifice? Behind the gospel songs and the bright stage lights, a dark, lonely war was being fought. Now, the mask has fallen, and the woman who taught us how to forgive is finally demanding her due. Was it love, or was it a 25-year sentence? Grab your tissues and hold your breath, because the truth we're about to uncover will make you lose faith in everything you thought you knew about the power couple. This is the tragic end of an era. To the world, Tina Campbell was the woman who had it all. A voice that could move mountains, a career that touched the heavens, and a marriage that was supposed to be the blueprint for every believer. For 25 years, we saw smiles. We saw the hand-holding on the red carpet. We saw a woman who stood by her man through the darkest storms, even when those storms were of his own making. But as the curtains pull back, we are realizing that the power couple wasn't a fairy tale, it was a prison. Tina Campbell isn't just asking for $30 million. She is asking for the return of her life. She is putting a price tag on the decades she spent suffocating her own dreams to breathe life into Teddy's. Let's go back to the beginning. Before the lawsuits, before the $30 million demand, and before the world knew the word infidelity, Tina wasn't just a wife, she was an architect. While Teddy Campbell sat behind those drums, Tina was the one building the stage. People forget that behind every powerful man is a woman who gave up her own power to keep him standing. Tina spent her youth, her 20s, her 30s, and her 40s navigating the brutal music industry, not just for herself, but to ensure Teddy had a seat at the table. But what happens when the table you built is the same one where you are served a plate of betrayal? The rumors of cheating weren't just whispers, they were screams that Tina tried to drown out with gospel songs. We all remember 2014. We remember the public confession, the tears, and the forgiveness tour. Tina told us she had moved on. She told us that God had healed their marriage. But today, the truth is bleeding out of the legal documents. You can forgive a man, but you can never forget the way he made you feel small in your own home. Sources close to the singer suggest that the perfect marriage was a carefully constructed mask. While they were filming reality shows and preaching about love, the walls of their mansion were echoing with the sounds of emotional warfare. Tina wasn't just a partner, she was a fixer. She fixed his reputation. She fixed his public image. She fixed the holes he left in their family. But who was fixing Tina? The demand for $30 million in spousal support has sent shockwaves through the industry. Teddy's legal team is calling it extortion. They are calling it bitterness. They want the world to see Tina as a greedy woman trying to bankrupt a man she once loved. But if you look closer, you'll see a woman who is finally doing the math. Think about it. How much is it worth to stay in a marriage where you are being betrayed emotionally? What is the hourly rate for a woman who manages a home, 5 children, and a husband's volatile career while her own heart is breaking in silence? $30 million isn't a random number. It is the cost of 25 years of I'm sorry's that never resulted in change. It is the cost of a song she didn't write, the tour she didn't take, and the peace of mind she will never get back. Teddy's camp claims this is unfair. They say he worked hard, too. And yes, Teddy is a talent. But talent doesn't give you the right to break the person who held you together. The tragedy here isn't just the divorce. The tragedy is that after 25 years of being the perfect wife, Tina Campbell has been forced to become a plaintiff. She has been forced to take the man she loved to court just to prove that her life was worth something more than a footnote in his biography. The battle lines are drawn. The gospel world is in mourning. And as the lawyers prepare their opening statements, one question remains. Was the love ever real? Or was it just a 25-year performance that finally reached its final tragic act? The money is just the beginning. Wait until you hear what Teddy's team is planning to use against her in court. The betrayal goes deeper than we ever imagined. The battle for the Campbell legacy has moved from the altar to the courtroom, and the stakes have never been more toxic. While the world reels from the $30 million demand, the focus has shifted from the money to a much darker reality: the systematic destruction of a woman's spirit. In this second chapter of their downfall, we aren't just looking at a divorce. We are witnessing an autopsy of a marriage that was dead long before the papers were filed. The defense from Teddy Campbell's camp has been swift and brutal. They aren't just denying the $30 million, they are attempting to rewrite history. They claim that Tina's demands are a result of emotional instability and a vengeful heart. But for those who have followed Tina's journey, these words feel like a second betrayal. It's a classic tactic. When you can't defend your actions, you attack the character of the person you hurt. Teddy's legal team is painting a picture of a woman who is difficult and unreasonable, conveniently forgetting that this is the same woman who spent a decade publicly defending his reputation after his admitted infidelities nearly destroyed his career. What is the price of silence? 4 years. Tina Campbell was the face of forgiveness. She wrote books about it. She sang songs about it. She sat on talk show couches and told the world that a marriage could survive anything if the woman was strong enough to carry the burden. But behind the scenes, that strength was being exploited. Sources close to the proceedings reveal that the healing we saw on television was often a one-sided effort. While Tina was doing the heavy lifting to repair their public image, the emotional betrayals allegedly continued in the shadows. The $30 million isn't just about assets. It's a silence tax for the years she spent protecting a man who, in the end, refused to protect her. The most heartbreaking part of this legal warfare is the sacrifice gap. In their prime, Tina was more than just a wife, she was the engine. Every tour, every business deal, and every branding move was filtered through her vision. She stepped back from her own solo aspirations to ensure the Campbell brand remained untainted. Now, as Teddy's team argues that she hasn't earned such a massive settlement, the hypocrisy is deafening. They are trying to treat her like an employee who can be fired with a standard severance package, rather than the co-founder of the life they built together. But the drama doesn't stop at the courtroom doors. The public war has turned into a digital battlefield. Leaks from the inner circle suggest that Teddy's team is preparing to use Tina's own past words against her. They are digging through her public testimonies of forgiveness to prove that she had already reconciled with his past mistakes, arguing that she cannot now claim those mistakes as a reason for a higher payout. It is a cold, calculated move, using a woman's faith and her capacity to love as a weapon to deny her financial security. As we dig deeper into the betrayal economy, we see the toll this is taking on Tina. Friends say she is no longer the vibrant powerhouse we once knew. She is a woman who has realized that the man she spent 25 years fixing was never truly broken. He was just indifferent to the pieces of her he had to shatter to keep himself whole. The $30 million is a drop in the bucket compared to the decades of peace she surrendered. The narrative Teddy is pushing is one of moving on and starting fresh. But for Tina, there is no starting fresh without a reckoning. She is fighting for more than a check. She is fighting for an admission of guilt. She wants the world to know that being a good wife shouldn't mean being a silent victim. As the discovery phase of the trial begins, secrets are starting to leak that could bankrupt more than just Teddy's bank account. They could bankrupt his entire legacy in the gospel community. Is it possible to love someone so much that you lose yourself? And once you're lost, what is the cost of finding your way back? Tina Campbell is finding out the hard way that the road to freedom is paved with high legal fees and public humiliation. But she isn't backing down. The power couple is gone, replaced by two warriors in a cage match where the prize is the truth. Stay tuned, because what comes next isn't just a legal update. It's a warning to anyone who thinks they can build a throne on someone else's broken heart. The final documents are about to be unsealed, and the evidence is more explosive than anyone predicted. The final act of the Campbell tragedy has moved beyond the courtroom and into the realm of absolute devastation. As the legal teams prepare their closing arguments for the most high-profile divorce in the history of modern gospel music, the $30 million figure has become more than just a number. It has become a symbol of a woman's worth in a world that tried to devalue her. This isn't just about a settlement anymore. It is about the final, crushing blow to a legacy that once inspired millions. The atmosphere surrounding the trial has turned from curiosity to a heavy, suffocating sadness. For years, we were told that love covers all. But in the cold light of the witness stand, we are seeing that love cannot cover a 25-year history of systemic betrayal. New evidence has surfaced, suggesting that the $30 million demand was triggered by a final straw, a discovery so shocking that it made Tina realize her entire adult life had been lived in a hall of mirrors. While she was teaching us how to be redefined through her music and her books, she was allegedly being undermined by the very person she was fighting to protect. The defense's final strategy is perhaps the most painful part of this entire ordeal. Teddy's team is now attempting to use the very children they raised together as a shield. They argue that a $30 million payout would deplete the family's future, forcing a narrative that Tina is choosing her own financial revenge over the stability of her 5 children. It is a masterclass in emotional manipulation, positioning a mother's demand for justice as an act of maternal neglect. But Tina's supporters see right through it. They see a woman who is ensuring that her children never grow up thinking it's okay to settle for a love that requires you to vanish. The tragedy deepens when you look at the industry's reaction. The gospel community, once the Campbells' biggest cheerleaders, has largely gone silent. There are no more joint performances, no more shared testimonies. The golden couple has been erased from the billboards, replaced by the harsh reality of 2 people who can no longer stand to be in the same room. Sources close to Tina say the silence of her peers has been a different kind of heartbreak. In a world built on grace, she is finding that grace is often withheld from the person who finally says enough. As we look at the breakdown of the $30 million, it's not just about the mansions or the royalties. It's about the opportunity cost. If Tina hadn't spent 2 decades managing Teddy's ego and repairing his image, where would her own career be? If she hadn't stayed quiet to protect the ministry, how many more stages would she have conquered? The settlement is a late payment for 25 years of uncredited labor. It's a bill for every night she spent crying in a hotel room while preparing to smile on a red carpet the next morning. The final days of the trial have revealed a woman who is no longer afraid of the truth, even if that truth burns her world to the ground. In a stunning moment of testimony, it was hinted that the betrayal wasn't just physical or financial, but a complete identity theft, a situation where Tina was pressured to maintain a public persona that was the polar opposite of her private pain. She was the face of a brand that was selling a lie she no longer believed in. The $30 million is the price of her freedom from that lie. As the judge prepares to deliver a verdict that will change the landscape of celebrity divorce forever, the world waits with bated breath. Will the court see Tina as the architect who is owed her fair share, or as a bitter ex-wife? Regardless of the legal outcome, the emotional verdict is already in. The power couple is a cautionary tale, a reminder that you can't keep a fire burning by using yourself as the fuel. The story of Tina and Teddy Campbell ends here, not with a song, but with a gavel. It ends not in a church, but in a courthouse. And as the dust settles, we are left to wonder, in a war where everyone loses, is $30 million really enough to start over? The final curtain has fallen, the lights have dimmed, and all that's left is the silence of a dream that was never truly ours to believe in. Thank you for following this investigative series. Don't forget to look out for our next update, where we break down the final verdict and what this means for the future of gospel music. Subscribe and stay tuned. The truth is finally out. As the gavel falls on this chapter of Tina and Teddy Campbell's life, we are left looking at the shattered glass of a 25-year mirror. We've seen the sacrifices, the alleged betrayals, and the staggering $30 million price tag of a broken heart. But now, the most important part of the story isn't what the lawyers say, it's what you think. We want to hear from you in the comments below. Is Tina Campbell's demand for $30 million a fair price for 2 decades of sacrifice and silent suffering? Or do you agree with Teddy's team that this is a case of bitterness and legal extortion? In a world that constantly tells women to forgive and forget, is Tina finally doing the right thing by standing her ground and demanding her worth? This story has divided the gospel community, and your voice matters in this debate. If you believe that loyalty has a price and that a woman's life work should be compensated, drop a Team Tina in the comments. If you think the sanctity of marriage and the future of the family should come before a financial settlement, let us know why. If this deep dive into the betrayal economy moved you or made you rethink what the power couple really meant, please hit that like button. It helps us continue to bring you these investigative stories. And if you haven't already, click subscribe and turn on the notification bell. We are tracking every legal update and every leaked document in the Campbell case, and you won't want to miss our breakdown of the final verdict. Thank you for watching, for sharing your perspective, and for being part of our community. This is more than just celebrity gossip. It's a conversation about value, truth, and the cost of starting over. We'll see you in the next video.